in the Java Sea. With Miranda Kahn, J.D. Hayworth, let's continue our conversation with aviation consultant Danny Wright as he Skypes in from Alpharetta, Georgia. Danny, you quite rightly pointed out that we are dealing with speculation about this. What might help put the speculation to rest is recovery of the black box or the black boxes aboard the plane. To the layman, explain the black box. Is it indestructible, and do we get conclusive evidence from those black boxes on the fate of aircraft?
Actually, no of the recording devices are indestructible. The aircraft has basically two primary recording devices. One is called a cockpit voice recorder. The other one is called a flight data recorder. The flight data recorder records roughly 88 different parameters. Actually records more than that by regulatory requirements, records 88 different parameters. Once we recovered those black boxes, as they're so called, they're located primarily in the tail of the aircraft. The cockpit voice recorder is in the front. The flight data recorder typically is in the tail of the aircraft. Once those are recovered, they're sent off, and we can download the tapes or the digital devices and determine exactly what was going on with the aircraft, both airspeed, outside temperatures, things like that, wind gusts, wind direction, the engine settings, the thrust lever settings, the inputs of the flight controls, all the typical information we need to know to exactly what transpired with the aircraft.
Danny, I want to talk about Indonesia now, and it's seen like a tremendous growth spurt and people flying in and out of that area in the last few years, especially 20% growth rate annually since the mid-2000s. Some say that that huge growth spurt has led to some dangerous flying conditions with not enough regulators. Do you agree with that assessment?
I don't, and the reason why I don't is because aviation has evolved over the years with an incredible safety record. I know it doesn't appear that way, especially with MH370, the loss of the Malaysian aircraft, MH37, this event right here, civil aviation, they always make great news when an accident occurs, but no one talks about the number of people that expire on our nation's highways today. It's still, unfortunately or fortunately, the safest form statistically of traveling there is. There is a major growth in the Malaysian market, in the Asian market. And what's happened over the years with aviation is we tend to grow our training requirements based on the growth of the industry and the technology of the aircraft.
But Danny, talking about Indonesia specifically, not overall when it comes to aviation, especially here in the U.S., you are correct. 2014, I believe, is one of the safest on record as far as airline safety. But Indonesia specifically, though, the EU has banned all but 5 of, I believe, 67 airlines from European airspace. Why do you think that is? If it's so safe there, why are they banning them?
We tend to be reactionary, and quite honestly, none of us, other than ICAO, the International Civil Aviation Organization, has had the opportunity to review the training requirements that the regulatory bodies are putting in place.
Danny, with a minute left in this, we saw those horrible scenes of families and loved ones learning of the discovery of the aircraft on live television. Obviously, there are going to be concerns about safety and the protocols there. But should there be better protocols, especially there in Indonesia, given, sadly, the frequency this past year of those accidents? Minute to respond, sir.
I think, yes, there absolutely needs to be some studies done to determine whether or not safety risks have been jeopardized or have been increased, and whether or not the training programs that are being provided to the flight crews has been improved enough to offset some of these reductions. Other than that, I think there just has to be more data gathered to determine that. And I think ICAO and other regulatory bodies around the world should participate in looking into those scenarios. We're not going to eliminate aircraft accidents. We are going to reduce them. And frankly, we have had a reduction in aircraft accidents and fatalities and injuries throughout the years of aviation.
Point well taken. We'll have to leave it there. Danny Wright, we thank you for your expertise in aviation. And when we come back, former Boston Mayor Ray Flynn.